Today's little kitchen project, we're gonna can up some sweet pickled peppers and onions. Woo! Wait!
Sweet pickled peppers and onions, but I have to sterilize the jars first. So I've already loaded up my jars. I'm getting the last of the rings put inside here. I'm going to get it going.
So the peppers were on sale. So we went down and we got some yellows and reds and orange and greens. You know, make it look appetizing. It just adds all of that color to them. So there's 16 peppers that are going into this. And that's going to do how many jars?
It's going to do 5 1.5 pints and 9 1-pint jars.
Beautiful. Yep. So here's the ingredients, and we'll put this down below. But you need white vinegar. Here we go with our special oil again. We're using the canola oil, extra virgin olive oil, and the grapeseed oil mix. That works out the best with these things. I mean, we have plenty of garlic, but when we do these little projects, we get ourselves a jar of chopped garlic. It's a lot easier to do all of this, and we save our other stuff for cooking. We use the
fresh garlic for cooking, and the chopped garlic from the store.
Yeah, when we're processing stuff,
easier.
It's a lot easier, and it's just as good.
Saves time.
Saves a lot of time, and that's what these projects are all about. So you get the cider vinegar also, and then of course we use the pickle crisp, which we've talked about this before. Pickle crisp is nothing more than calcium chloride. And calcium chloride, the way I understand it, it works to the blossom end of whatever you're putting in there. And all that it does is there's enzymes are still active in all of these things and make them decay faster. So the calcium chloride simply slows down that process. So don't think that it's going to make your product better. In other words, you got to start off with good product, because if you don't, it doesn't get any better when you process it, right?
Right.
Okay, so to prepare the peppers, Sue's cutting them in half and then cleaning out the inside. You don't want that membrane in there, and you want to get rid of all the seeds. And then she's going to simply slice them into, yeah, that's a good size, because you don't want them too small. But you also don't want them too big either, because you're going to remember you're going to use them for sandwiches and stuff. You just don't want them too big. Of course, you could always cut them before you put them on a sandwich if you wanted to. The thing is, you don't want to process them too small, because if you do that, they're going to end up getting mushy, and you don't want that. The last batch that we did last year, we did the amount of jars that we talked about, and we've only got about 3 jars left. And man, they came out great. I couldn't ask for any better than what they came out. So hopefully we can duplicate that now. So she's going to cut all of these peppers up and clean them, and then we'll go on to the next part of this process.
Right.
And onions too, I forgot to mention them. That's another important part. And it was going to take 4 onions to all of this?
Yep.
All right. So let's get set up, and we're going to start cleaning and processing our product, getting it ready to go. In the meantime, our dishwasher is running, and that's going to take about an hour or so. So it's going to give us a good amount of time to get set up, get our stuff all cleaned up over here, and we'll make our brine, and we'll get ready to pack these babies up.
We'll see you in a few minutes. We have all our onions and peppers cut up, ready to go. We need to wash them, but before I do that, I'm going to start my brine. So into our brine, we have 6 cups of apple cider vinegar, we have 6 cups of white vinegar, we have 3 cups of olive oil, which that has that mix that we described earlier.
That's the canola, the grapeseed oil, and the olive oil.
Okay, couldn't remember the combo.
We use that because it doesn't congeal in the refrigerator.
Right. We have 3 cups of water. I don't have another bigger pitcher, so I'm using a 2 cup and a 1 cup. Then we have 2 teaspoons of cannon salt and 4 tablespoons of pickling spice, which has got all kinds of good stuff in there. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to just stir it up a little bit. I'm going to get my burner on. Bring it up so we can bring that up to a boil. Smells wonderful. I hear the dishwasher's on its last leg. It's going to go off any time now.
We got some pretty good time in here.
We do. I'm going to put the jar lids in the water back here.
So when you're putting them in, see what she's doing. You want to make sure that they kind of, yeah, stay separated like that. Because when you go to pick them up with the magnet after, because you don't want to touch them, they'll pick up more than one unless you stay separated like that. So we're going to bring that water up to 180.
Right. We have the thermometer right there. The burner is on now. It's going to take a few minutes, and we'll be ready to do the jars after.
Beautiful.
Okay, so those are in there.
So okay, we got that on high, but we probably should turn that back one down. Yep, right in that area.
Yep, we're going to keep an eye on it.
And there it is. That's the sound we were waiting for. That dishwasher is ready. Beautiful.
Okay, so now I'm going to start washing my peppers.
Yeah. Well, what great timing. We've already washed out the sink here, so there's nothing to worry about. It's all clean.
Just want to make sure there's no seeds on it. I have a towel here to put them on. Let them dry.
Just give them the old once over in the once over department. All right, so Sue's going to wash up the peppers. The dishwasher is sterilizing everything right now. We've got all of our pots on. Probably put the lid on this guy right here.
Yes.
It's all right. We're working together on this project. These projects are not terrible, but boy, it's a lot easier with 2 people. So all of our water's coming up to temp. We're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. All right, so we are at that next step finally. The dishwasher has run and sanitized everything.
9 of these.
All right, so we need 9 of those.
Nice and hot.
Beautiful. So as I was saying, there's other ways you can sanitize this stuff. You can boil it in the water for I think 10 minutes. You want to go online and check this stuff. We're certainly not professionals at this. The other way would be to do it in the oven. I don't remember the temperature and the length of time that you can put it in, but that is another way you can do it. Again, go online. There's a lot of stuff online that you can get all the correct information on doing that stuff. But this has worked out quite well with us. Every dishwasher apparently does not have a sanitizing cycle. We're lucky enough that this one does. And we bought that dishwasher long before we started canning, so it was just one of those things that it came with. So help me out with the process now. What are we going to do here?
Now we're just going to take some peppers and we're going to stuff it in there. And we're going to try to get all the colors in.
Yeah, it's all about appearance, right?
Yep.
Make it appetizing.
We need to put some onions in there, and we got chunks of onion. It doesn't have to be all separated. The chunks are nice when you take them out and you get bite sizes.
Oh yeah, that worked out good on the last ones. And you kind of want to push everything in here,
yes,
right?
You want to get everything down inside. You got all the nooks and crannies that we have here.
And Sue's working with the hot jars that just came out of the dishwasher so that the peppers now start to heat up, because it's all about getting everything up to temp. The boiling water boils at 212 degrees, and it's about getting everything up to temp and doing it for 10 minutes. So this stuff will go in the boiling water, but I can guarantee what's going to happen. We're going to lose our boil, and then it's going to take a little period of time to bring it back up to that rolling boil and start our timer. So all the while that it's in there and it's not boiling, you're bringing everything up to temp inside the jars. So it's part of the process is all. The thing is, you don't want too much lag time. In our old stove, we had a ton of lag time, and meaning that when we'd lose the boil, and we put our, because we put our stuff in, we'd lose the boil. By the time it came back up to a boil, this stuff is already heating up so much, and it was making a lot of, I wouldn't say mushy stuff, but stuff that you knew could be better. So then we got this stove about, 2 years ago?
It'll be 2 years in February.
2 years in February. And this guy is ideal for canning. When we're canning a lot of stuff, we'll take this grill out of here. This is, well, I don't know if I can get that up. Now it's kind of hot because we get 2 burners going there and everything's cast iron, so it just transfers the heat. But it's a griddle, it's a grill, and you take that right out of there. You just pick it up, put 2 burners back down on there, boom, you get a 6 burner stove. And it's great when you're doing a lot of canning. Oh, there you go. Alright, so there's that. But also, you can take this off and put just the grills on there. And we use that all the time.
Yeah.
You might as well put that back down because you're going to get everything full of.
Or you can take this all off and have 6 burners.
Yeah, exactly. And I had my numbers mixed up the other day. I was saying that this was a 22,000 BTU here. It's not. This is a 22,000 BTU. This is a 22,000 BTU. And the stove did not come through with that. It came through with 15s, right? Yes.
Yes.
So it came through with 15 here, 15 here, 15 here, 15, and 15 on the back over there. So I actually, when we bought the stove, they gave us one 22 to go there. I bought a 22 to go here, and it did not come with the griddle. We bought that separately, and then I changed out the burners, which is not a big deal at all. And that gave us 2 22s in the front, which I wanted because I said we do a lot of canning. And this thing works out great. You just can't beat it. It's a Blue Star is the name. The thing that sold us on this stove, I sound like I'm selling this stove.
Yeah, you are. You're trying to.
I'm trying to.
We love it so
But
much.
we love it so much. It's made in Pennsylvania. And it's so, Pennsylvania's still part of the USA to the best of my knowledge, and that's the ticket for me. And I said, beautiful. That's our guy. All right, so I missed a little bit here. We're filling the peppers and onions in the jar, and you can see you're pushing them down because I can tell you what's going to happen from experience on canning, and Sue does most of this filling of the jar thing, but I can tell you what happens. This stuff is going to soften, it's going to shrink a little bit, and all of a sudden you go, man, I thought I really jammed those in there, and look at it's pretty loose. So you don't be afraid to push them down in there. It's just going to give you a nice full jar. And you need to do that because if you don't, you're going to end up with more product than you have jars. I actually did one more of the pint jars than it called for, just for a safety net, I guess we'll call it. So you just put in, what, a teaspoon?
A teaspoon of garlic and the eighth of a teaspoon of pickle crisp.
Beautiful.
Now I'm pushing down as much as I can. When I put the liquid in, I'll be able to push more down and get more in then.
Exactly, and then you're going to get in there and you're going to use your plastic probe there to get any of the air that gets trapped in there when you fill the bottle, and it's important to get all of that air out of there. And you use the plastic because if you go in there with a knife and you scratch that jar, that thing can explode. So you just use the right tools. It's like anything else. You just use the correct tools to do the job. So Sue is going to finish filling these jars, and then we'll be right back, and she'll put the brine in, and boom, we're going to go in and start processing. Okay, so we just finished putting the peppers in the jars, and I got to tell you, Sue went back, cut pieces in half, and jammed them in. And I'm telling you, you got to do that. Don't think that you're all set when you do it the first time. You got to go back and you got to push in all that available space. You got to get a really nice filled jar. So now you're going to end up filling this guy up, and there's graduations on the side of this.
Yep, about a ½ inch.
And you want to be a ½ inch from the top, so you can see that that's graduated. And then you're going to end up pushing some of that stuff down again. It's a little bit of a process here. You got to fill them, go back and fill them, push them down. It's like right on the money. You couldn't have asked for anything to come together any better than it did. So you can see what she's doing. Pushing down in the back, again using the plastic utensil here, not metal. And just trying to get any air that might be trapped down the bottom, get that out. And then it's a matter of just pushing things down. Make sure you have enough brine. I'm going to go over here and get her a paper towel because she needs to wipe the lids, the tops of the jars down. And she's going to use a little of that boiling water, or actually just the 180 water in the back will be good. Okay, so everything's been pushed down. Sue's checked all the levels of the fluid, make sure everything's looking good. Just taking a little hot water and wiping off the top of all of these. And then it's grab the lids, put them on with the bands. And the bands only go on just snug. You'll see in a second. What's that, huh?
Finger tight.
Finger tight. Because the band, the only part that the band plays in this whole thing, the way I understand it, is to keep that lid in place. You don't want to sock it down too tight, because during this process of the hot water bath, you want any air that's in there to work its way out. If the lid is too tight, it's not going to allow that to happen. And the one thing you don't want to do, I have seen other people do some things in their processing. They take them out of after the 10-minute hot water bath and turn them over on the lid, and that is, I can tell you, I don't know a lot of things, that is absolutely the wrong thing to do. For this to finish processing properly, it needs to be stored upright, out of a draft, and just let it go, and you'll hear these lids actually make a popping sound as they seal, because they're still in the process of processing. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but they're still in the processing stage. So here you go, you're going in with your magnet. It's an inexpensive item, but boy, it makes life really easy. Boom. You can't beat that. You know, we just bit the bullet in the beginning. We invested the money that we felt was what you needed to do this properly. Alright, so she's going to finish putting those on. We'll be right back. We'll start our processing. Okay, so everything's all done here. Putting the bands on. And again, see how it does it? You don't go crazy with it. You just go finger tight.
Now we're ready to process.
We're ready to process. Well, if you want to bring them over here, then we'll switch and I'll take over. This is where I come in. I don't do much, but what I do well.
Yes, you do. So now we are going to do putting the jars in the canning water.
Put that up there. Set that down. And now the big thing here is to keep everything balanced off so you don't tip in there. So you just kind of do the old clock thing. Go 6, 12, 3 and 9, and then just fill in. That way you stay balanced off. I thought we got 9 in here the other day. Did we?
No, what? We use the smaller, the regular mouth.
Oh, the regular mouth. Okay, that's because I thought we were putting in more than we could the other day. Okay, there's the answer. All right, so we're gonna set this down in. Check our water level. Bring that up on high. Bring that up on high back there. Down we go. And our water level is A-OK. We're a little over half an inch over the top, as you can see. All right, so let's check this water in here. We gotta be pretty darn close. And we are boiling, so we're gonna give it 10 minutes. There goes our timer. And that'll process. Sue is already going into doing the pint and a half. I like these, but we usually keep these here at our house, and if we give any away, we give away the smaller jars. But one thing is we don't have a lot of these, and you know how it is when you give away things?
You don't get it back.
Sometimes you don't get the jars back. So if anybody's watching out there that I gave you stuff, where's my jars? All right, well, we'll let Sue do her thing here and let the other jars process, and we'll be right back. Now we need to get this guy out of there. Okay. Going back to my old green guy. It's just not as thick. You can get it around the jars easier. I do like the red one because it springs by itself, but it's not that big a deal. It's like using chopsticks, which I can't do. Okay, so I'm going to get the rest of these out of here, and Sue is just about done with the other pint and a halves, and we'll be right back. Okay, the jars are all filled, and I got to show you this. That's what's left for the onion and pepper. And for the brine, that's it. So that works out pretty darn close. I mean, it's exactly what it says it is. So we figured out what happened. We're using all wide mouths. The last processing that we did the other day, we used pint jars, but not the wide mouth. And apparently the jars are a different size because we absolutely got 9 in. We were both surprised. And now we can only get 8 of the wide mouth. So that's something that we'll make a note of and keep it on the side for future. All right, you bring that guy over, we'll switch, and I'll drop him in. So again, we want to balance this guy off. Steady. Everybody's happy. All right, away you go. We need a lot of water. Let's hope we got enough here. No, we don't. Run that hot stuff. So that's a mistake. So that you don't want to do. Oh yeah, we're there. And boom. There we go on our 10 minutes again. So we'll get this guy going. And in the meantime, it's time to celebrate. I think everything went rather well. That last little glitch, those things are going to happen. It's time for us to have a glass of wine together, eh?
Yes, it is.
All right. To a job well done.
Well done.
Well, welcome to the morning after. So we have all of our sweet onion and pepper, pickled peppers here. And hey, they came out pretty good. Look at how nice that looks. Really attractive. So what we're doing today is the final step, which is clean the oil off. We had a little breach in the pan when we were processing. It happens, and it expelled a little of the oily mixture into the of the brine into the water bath. And so, of course, oil, it doesn't take much of it to spread all over the place. So what we decided to do was take off the bands, and they're going to go back in the dishwasher. It'll be a lot easier because you don't even need them on right now, but we are going to put them back on. And Sue's just giving them the old once-over with straight vinegar, cleaning them up, and then we're going to put some labels on there, and we're going to call it a day. We'll take and pack them downstairs where it'll be nice and cool. And this is the labels that she uses. Let's see if we get a picture of that. So it's the dissolvable labels. We found that to be like a lifesaver. We used the other kind before, and the adhesion is terrible to try to get those things to come off. Now, you could put them on the lids, which we throw away, but we like to put them on the sides because we stack them and it's hard to read, just like that. And now we have something that we can look at straight on forward on the shelf downstairs. But when you take and finish one of these and you put it in the dishwasher, that dissolvable label is gone. So we're not only doing the sweet pepper onion pickled, we're not only doing the
pickled sweet peppers and onions.
Thank you. We're also doing, as far as cleaning and labeling, and these didn't have any breaches, so these are not bad at all. But we're just going to give them the old once-over, and then we'll label them, and all of this stuff will go downstairs. So that is the hot pickled peppers that we did the other day. These are the stuffed cherry peppers we did the other day, and I think that is going to bring us to an end here of the of this little episode.
I think so.
Hey, I want to thank you guys for stopping in. Take a minute and subscribe. We got plenty more coming up, and it's diverse stuff. I mean, a lot of different things. Some of it you'll be interested with, some of it you won't be, but you always have that fast forward button, right?
Sure.
So if you could, please subscribe, and if you can, take a minute and give it the old up yours. Is that what that is?
No, it's a thumbs up.
I always get that mixed up. Well, either way, just give it one of those if you can muster up the steam to do it. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time on Bird TV.
We're getting ready to make our what is that?
So I did have one left. I don't know if you can see the date on this. It's mock chow chow. It's 10/11/15. So my wife said you shouldn't eat that. It's too old. You know what? She might be right, but you'll smell test. Just eat it. Smells fine. If there's any bacteria growth in there, you're gonna know. And guess what? It's still solid. Vinegar. It's only vinegar. So Sue's going to finish filling the rest of these jars, and we'll be right back. That's all, folks.